This man accidentally picked up his wife's phone to look at it. A message caught his attention. It announced that his wife would meet the other party at a hotel on Saturday. The man felt extremely let down. He felt like he had just been struck by lightning from the sky. He stood dazed for a long time, not knowing what to do. The man absolutely could not believe that his gentle wife could have a secret affair behind his back. This poor man's name was Hyun Woo, and he was a TV show director. Although his career was not outstanding, he had a group of like-minded friends by his side, so he was always full of hope for the future. Hyun Woo thought life would be peaceful like that. But that day changed his whole life, because the program Hyun Woo was in charge of had poor ratings. So the TV station decided to cut that show. They asked Hyun Woo to create a new segment within 3 weeks. That night, Hyun Woo and his colleagues sat drinking together. They wanted to take this opportunity to tell the host about the show's cancellation, but they hesitated forever and couldn't speak. After all, they had cooperated for many years. If the show was cancelled, the host would be unemployed. While Hyun Woo was having a headache about how to open the conversation, he saw a missed call from his wife. At this moment, he remembered that he had to pick up his son from school today. After everyone finished gathering, everyone went home, and only Hyun Woo remained. He told the host that the show had been cancelled. Finally, Hyun Woo was called back by the owner to pay the bill. This meal cost a significant amount, and Hyun Woo could only painfully pay with his own money. When Hyun Woo passed by the claw machine, he conveniently played a few rounds. But in the end, he didn't catch any. On the way home, Hyun Woo saw the stocks he bought constantly dropping in price. He felt like life had lost hope. But when Hyun Woo thought of his beautiful wife waiting for him, he involuntarily smiled happily. Hyun Woo's wife's name was Sujeon. In the minds of outsiders, she was an elite at work. As for her husband, she was a perfect wife. Sujeon was also a good mother in the hearts of her children. She always knew how to balance family and career. Sujeon not only completed her work excellently, but she also took care of her husband and children very thoughtfully. Thanks to that, Hyun Woo had a warm family and a perfect wife. That made Hyun Woo feel extremely happy. Their marriage was also something admired by everyone. Hyun Woo felt his wife was like the light in his life. She illuminated all the darkness around him. When Hyun Woo thought of this, he quickly sent a message to his wife. He apologized for forgetting to pick up their son. Then, Hyun Woo urged the driver to drive a little faster. When he got home, Hyun Woo gently asked if his wife was angry, but Sujeon just focused on cleaning. It seemed she didn't mind this. A moment later, Hyun Woo went into the room. He saw his son holding his wife's phone playing games. He immediately snatched the phone and told Junsu to go to sleep quickly. Just then, Sujeon's phone had a notification. A man named Michael texted her. He asked to meet her at the hotel on Saturday. When Hyun Woo saw this message, his spirit completely collapsed. At this moment, he couldn't help but suspect his wife had betrayed him. Suddenly, Junsu ran over to snatch the phone away, but Hyun Woo stood silently. He couldn't believe the truth happening. Hyun Woo collapsed and sat drinking. He didn't know how to face his wife. That night, when Hyun Woo went to sleep, he constantly comforted himself that he had seen it wrong. Hyun Woo looked at his sleeping wife, trying to suppress the doubts in his heart. But finally, he couldn't resist secretly taking his wife's phone. At this moment, Hyun Woo remembered that he didn't know the unlock password, so he remembered the tricks of secret agents in movies. They could use powder to reveal fingerprints. After a while of trying, Hyun Woo realized one thing. Everything in movies was just a trick. Hyun Woo had no choice but to find his son, to ask him to open the phone. Unexpectedly, Junsu said the password had been changed. Hearing that, Hyun Woo became even more suspicious. The next morning, he was still thinking about it. Meanwhile, Sujeon was still preparing breakfast for her husband and son. She told Hyun Woo that her company had a party tonight, so she would be home a little late. Afterward, Sujeon groomed herself a bit and prepared to go out. The seed of suspicion had sprouted in Hyun Woo's heart. Any action of his wife made him suspicious. When Hyun Woo took his son to school, he was like a soulless person. He even threw his son's bag into the trash pile. When Hyun Woo and his son waited for the bus, the mothers of other students praised Hyun Woo as a good man, because he took his son to school every day. When Hyun Woo heard everyone's praise, he thought to himself that although he was not a perfect husband, Sujeon had no reason to betray him. Surely Hyun Woo was thinking too much. To know his wife's true thoughts, Hyun Woo sought out his best friend, Jun Gi. Because he was a lawyer, he had rich emotional experience. Under his wife's strict supervision, Jun Gi still constantly flirted with other girls. Hyun Woo wanted to know why married women still betrayed their husbands. Jun Gi calmly replied that the reason was that the husbands were too useless. Hearing that, Hyun Woo smiled, but his heart hurt. That afternoon, the TV station held a meeting to discuss a new project. They decided to produce a show about the topic of adultery. When Hyun Woo heard everyone enthusiastically expressing their thoughts, he felt extremely painful. Everyone didn't understand what was wrong with him. To reduce the awkwardness, Hyun Woo lied that a friend of his discovered his wife's messages with another man. That person asked to meet her at a hotel. From the content of that message, Hyun Woo wanted to speculate on how far their relationship had progressed. Regarding this matter, the views of men and women were very different. Finally, Min Jae and Bo Young argued fiercely due to disagreements. Hyun Woo also didn't know what to do. That evening, Hyun Woo was depressed, so he invited Min Jae to drink with him. Min Jae could see that he had something on his mind, but for the sake of dignity, Hyun Woo still refused to talk about his wife. On the way home, Hyun Woo saw Sujeon. He hurriedly hid to observe his wife's actions, but his chance was ruined by Jungi. Sujeon also saw her husband standing standing on this side. After Jungi talked and greeted them with a few sentences, he quickly took his new girlfriend on a private date. Hyunwoo asked Soojeon why she was here. Soojeon calmly replied that the other day she had told her husband she had an appointment with friends today. Then, Soojeon linked arms with Hyunwoo to prepare to go home together, but he threw his wife's hand away and questioned whether friends meeting needed to dress so sexy. Before Soojeon could explain, Hyunwoo lied that the company had work and left. When Hyunwoo arrived at the company, he looked through documents related to adultery in the new plan. In Hyunwoo's head, scenes of him seeing his wife's affectionate messages kept appearing. All those things made him extremely painful. At this moment, someone called Hyunwoo. It turned out to be Bo Young. After she divorced, she often slept at the company. The two talked about marital relationships. Hyunwoo asked why Bo Young chose to divorce. She replied simply that she didn't love anymore. Hyunwoo absolutely couldn't understand this thought. He thought marriage was not just love. The couple had been together for many years, so they couldn't always maintain the feelings like at the beginning. Even if feelings faded, the couple should walk together until the end of their lives. Bo Young believed that women always craved romantic love. Hearing these words, Hyunwoo felt a bit guilty. He immediately ran home to search for evidence of his wife's adultery. Hyunwoo wanted to confront her directly. When Hyunwoo saw his wife buying a new set of underwear, he immediately associated it with the adultery documents collected at the TV station. Now, Hyunwoo seemed to have found evidence of his wife deceiving him, so he went into the bedroom and loudly asked who the man meeting Soojeon at the hotel was. But that was just his imagination. Hyunwoo still didn't know how to speak up. The next day, Hyunwoo met Jungi again. Seeing his friend hesitating, Jungi thought Hyunwoo had been caught cheating. Jungi was an experienced person in love. He immediately helped his best friend devise a plan, but Hyunwoo had no interest in that. He just wanted to know how a man should react when he knew his wife was cheating. Unexpectedly, if Jungi just dreamed of his wife cheating, he would kick her onto the floor. However, Jungi himself was not loyal to his marriage. Hyunwoo was very angry with this philandering friend. He just wanted to punch Jungi to death immediately. That evening, Hyunwoo scrolled through his contact list. At this moment, he realized that he had no one to confide in. After all, being betrayed was nothing to be proud of. When Hyunwoo sadly returned home, he learned that his mother had come to visit. He saw his mother finding ways to make things difficult for his wife, but Soojeon still behaved very gently. Before his mother's threatening attitude toward his wife, Hyunwoo didn't know what to do, but everything was easily resolved by Soojeon. When Hyunwoo saw his wife being so perfect, he thought he had wrongly blamed her. After Hyunwoo saw his mother off, Soojeon told her husband that the company had some work, so she had to go work overtime. Hyunwoo didn't think much. He coaxed his son to sleep alone. When Hyunwoo saw the unwashed dishes, he felt sorry for his wife's hardship, so he started cleaning the house. But when Hyunwoo went down to buy things, he accidentally saw a heartbreaking scene. Soojeon was sitting in a stranger's car, passing by him. After she got out of the car, the two held hands intimately. The scene in front of him seemed a bit blurry. Hyunwoo stood dazed. His mind was completely empty at this moment. After Hyunwoo returned home, he drank alone. The scene just now kept appearing in his head. When Hyunwoo looked at the photo of the family of three, he felt like 1,000 knives stabbing into his heart. He watched the wedding video again. Tears just flowed from Hyunwoo's eyes. When he heard the vows of the two at the wedding again, he didn't understand what he had done wrong, and why fate was so unfair to him. Hyunwoo drank the last sip of wine, then summoned up the courage to post an article online. Hyunwoo wanted to receive help from netizens. He wrote that in 3 days, his wife would betray him, so he hoped everyone would tell him what to do. Hyunwoo got drunk and fell into a dream. In the dream, his beautiful Soojeon ran to him with flowers, but when Hyunwoo intended to hug his wife, she ran past him. Soojeon didn't care about Hyunwoo's feelings, but she ran straight to another man, and Hyunwoo could only helplessly watch everything happen. At this moment, he suddenly startled awake. Although Soojeon was still his gentle wife, inside Hyunwoo confirmed that she betrayed him. The reason Soojeon still behaved normally was because she was afraid of being discovered by her husband. Hyunwoo wanted to confirm who that man was. At this time, there were only 2 days left until Soojeon met the mysterious man. Today, Hyunwoo went to the company. The new TV program discussed the topic of marriage and adultery. Colleagues discussed very enthusiastically. Only Hyunwoo couldn't concentrate. When Hyunwoo heard the word love, he suddenly got angry and shouted. Hyunwoo argued that love could not be used to justify adultery. He affirmed that adultery was a crime. When colleagues saw Hyunwoo so agitated, they all looked at each other in bewilderment. At this moment, Hyunwoo's phone rang. It turned out the article he posted earlier had trended. Netizens commented a lot. Some advised Hyunwoo to divorce. Some girls also thought it was his fault. Some kind netizens advised him to cheer up. There was also an anonymous account calling him a coward. Thousands of comments with all kinds of thoughts appeared. But one comment particularly attracted Hyunwoo's attention. This person advised him to be calm, because booking a hotel room did not mean adultery. So Hyunwoo needed to investigate clearly before making a conclusion. If his wife truly cheated for the first time, he could advise her to give up the wrongdoing. Hyunwoo felt the other person made a lot of sense. He tried to force himself to calm down. At this time, his colleagues were discussing the concept of adultery. This content caused a heated debate between men and women. Most male colleagues thought that without an intimate relationship, it could not be considered adultery. Conversely, female colleagues colleagues thought that just having unfaithful thoughts was considered adultery. Emotional adultery was also considered a serious betrayal. Hearing that, Hyunwoo felt very painful. After the meeting ended, Hyunwoo recalled the comments of netizens. He decided to investigate his wife's affair partner first. Meanwhile, Min-jae and Bo-young had finished lunch, and they were preparing to return to the company. Bo-young sharply discovered Soo-jun sitting opposite. Min-jae was about to go over to say hello when a strange man sat down next to Soo-jun. The two chatted happily, as if they were very familiar. Because Min-jae wanted to tease his colleague, he immediately took a picture of this scene and sent it to Hyunwoo. At this time, Hyunwoo had just logged into social media. He wanted to use it to identify his wife's lover. Just then, Hyunwoo received a message from Min-jae. He said Soo-jun was dating someone else. He also attached a clear photo. Hyunwoo saw the photo and froze on the spot. After Min-jae and Bo-young returned to the company, Min-jae continued to joke about this matter. He said the other person was very handsome. Unexpectedly, Hyunwoo stood up angrily and left. Min-jae immediately ran after him and questioned him. Finally, Hyunwoo revealed that his wife might be cheating. Min-jae was extremely furious hearing that. Before Hyunwoo could say anything, Min-jae was worried for him. He swore he would catch that man and beat him up. Afterward, Hyunwoo would divorce Soo-jun. But when Hyunwoo heard the word divorce, he still hesitated and couldn't decide. He knew his heart still loved his wife very much. But Min-jae felt this matter was hard to accept. He told Hyunwoo that men and women cheating were not the same. Men cheated mainly for lust, while women cheated due to lack of affection. Once a woman cheated, she wouldn't want to leave her lover. But Hyunwoo still couldn't make a decision. Seeing that, Min-jae sarcastically said that if so, Hyunwoo should just ignore it and stop asking about it. After all, this wasn't a big deal, and Hyunwoo had done very well. His positive thinking wasn't bad either. Hearing that, Hyunwoo got angry and grabbed the other's collar. But Min-jae wasn't scared into silence. He told Hyunwoo to ask his wife directly. Finally, Min-jae suggested that if Hyunwoo didn't dare to ask his wife directly, he could hire a detective to investigate. That night, Hyunwoo secretly went to the detective's office, but he didn't dare to enter for a long time. Hyunwoo quietly ran into the restroom and called the detective. Unexpectedly, the detective was in the room right next door. The conversation atmosphere between the two was a bit awkward, but this detective was very professional. He knew at a glance that Hyunwoo wanted to investigate his wife's affair. After that, the detective found out the cause of the situation and started quoting a price. He said this matter would be clarified soon. Even so, Hyunwoo still felt uneasy. He went to find Jungi to discuss. As soon as the two met, Jungi took out a device to check if he was being bugged by his wife. Hyunwoo was very surprised to see that. Every day, Jungi had to battle wits with his wife. He was always tracked by his wife and was very uncomfortable. But Hyunwoo didn't care about Jungi's flirting skills at all. This time, he just wanted to ask one question. If a wife cheats, will she definitely choose divorce? Jungi's answer made Hyunwoo desperate. After a wife cheats, whether she divorces or not has nothing to do with the husband, because it depends on whether the wife is willing to give up her lover to return to her family. When women meet what they want, they are braver than men. Hyunwoo returned home heartbroken. He pretended nothing had happened. When Hyunwoo saw Sao constantly sending messages, he tried to be calm and asked about the matter of Min-jae seeing her eating with a stranger today. Soo-jun quickly replied that the person was just a normal colleague, but Hyunwoo wasn't satisfied. He still wanted to ask something more. Soo-jun answered very quickly and didn't reveal any loopholes, so Hyunwoo could only give up. The next day when Hyunwoo went to work, the atmosphere became extremely strange. Since Min-jae learned about Hyunwoo's story, he was both angry and worried. He also became very agitated, which made colleagues feel weird. Originally, the meeting was only intended to discuss the TV station's new program, but the program content revolved around adultery. Min-jae felt even more sorry for his colleague. Seeing that, Hyunwoo was helpless. Everyone also had no mood for the meeting anymore. After the meeting ended, Hyunwoo suddenly remembered today was his 8th wedding anniversary. He went to choose a special gift for his wife, a star-shaped necklace. Because Soo-jun once said she liked the stars in the sky. This should have been a happy and sweet anniversary, but it was ruined by an ambiguous message. Hyunwoo sat dejectedly drinking alone. He opened his phone to view the post about his wife's affair. Some advised Hyunwoo to collect evidence and file for divorce. Others advised him to find out the cause to save the marriage. Someone even reserved a spot to jump into the river. He was ready to jump into the water with Hyunwoo. Netizens constantly encouraged Hyunwoo. They also wanted him to update the situation. This topic attracted a lot of social attention. Many people were waiting for Hyunwoo to continue posting news. They wanted to know the final outcome of the two. At this moment, Bo-young walked over and sat opposite Hyunwoo. The two talked about the 25th wedding anniversary of director Park and his wife. Hyunwoo expressed his admiration for the couple. Bo-young told him that marriage gets stronger over time, and the feelings for each other become inseparable. That's why people call it marriage. On the way back, Hyunwoo suddenly asked Bo-young what an 8-year marriage was like. Bo-young replied that it was a rubber marriage. Marriage in this period is like rubber because it can't break even if it wants to. Hearing that, Hyunwoo seemed to understand something. He ran to the cake shop to buy a cake for Soo-jun. Afterward, he also prepared a bunch of balloons. Hyunwoo wanted to give his wife a romantic surprise. At the same time, he also wanted the opportunity to talk more with Soo-jun. On the way back, his mind was full of images of his wife's beautiful face. face. Hyunwoo hoped this time he could confirm the feelings the two had for each other. If Hyunwoo escaped the thought that his wife was cheating, they surely could find happiness again. But reality was cruel. Hyunwoo expectantly returned home, but there was no one in the house. Hyunwoo immediately called Sujeon. It turned out she was taking their son to a classmate's birthday party. Tonight the two would not come home. Hyunwoo felt lost and intended to hint at something, but in the end, he still couldn't say it. He released the bunch of balloons in his hand. It turned out Sujeon didn't remember today was their 8th wedding anniversary. Hyunwoo lit a candle alone. The pain in his heart could not be spoken. While Hyunwoo didn't know what to do, the private detectives sent the investigation results. Angry, Hyunwoo intended to end everything, but when looking at the documents, he hesitated a bit. Hyunwoo couldn't face his wife's betrayal. He didn't want to end the marriage he had cultivated for 8 years. Hyunwoo was afraid that once he opened this document, he and his wife would not be able to be as happy as before. Finally, Hyunwoo silently deleted the message. His heart was filled with despair, and Hyunwoo went to the claw machine again. This was a hobby he had kept for many years, but fate always seemed to like teasing people. The teddy bear got stuck at the exit. Hyunwoo angrily kicked the machine. He wanted to take the teddy bear belonging to him out. At this moment, the owner came over. Hyunwoo explained he just wanted to get the teddy bear out, but the owner stopped him. Hyunwoo told the owner that in 8 years he had caught teddy bears and never cheated. The money he used to catch teddy bears might have been enough to buy this machine, but the owner still refused to let him take the teddy bear. Hyunwoo screamed frantically. If he knew beforehand, why did he have to follow the rules of inserting coins to catch teddy bears? In just a moment, Hyunwoo suddenly broke down. He could only scream to relieve the dissatisfaction in his heart. Afterward, Hyunwoo went home and updated his post. He decided that at 3 o'clock this afternoon, he would go to the hotel to catch his wife cheating in the act. At this time, there were only 10 hours left until Sujeon went on her date. Hyunwoo had made the final decision. This storm was also coming to an end. This was a truth no man wanted to accept. Only 8 hours left. Hyunwoo's wife would go to the hotel to meet a mysterious man. At this moment, Hyunwoo's phone suddenly rang. It turned out his previous post had attracted a lot of attention from netizens. A male account angrily expressed the view that Hyunwoo should not forgive his wife. Meanwhile, female accounts gave many different opinions. Some thought time would erase everything. Some cheered Hyunwoo on. Some also suggested he should use legal weapons to protect himself. Among them, one person gave the most focused suggestion. That person thought fighting could make the spirit more comfortable, but in reality, nothing changed. Amidst a series of positive advice from netizens, Hyunwoo's mind was extremely chaotic. Before thousands of opinions, he didn't know what was the right thing to do. Hyunwoo sadly released the balloon he intended to give his wife. Afterward, he went to wash his face to calm down. In his head, Hyunwoo recalled the words of the netizens. He wanted to try one more time for his child's happiness. At this time, Sujeon had returned home. The whole family sat eating breakfast as usual. After Sujeon finished breakfast, she started applying makeup, preparing to go out. Hyunwoo asked why his wife put on such beautiful makeup, but she didn't notice the anomaly. While Sujeon prepared to leave, Hyunwoo wanted to keep his wife back, but Sujeon used the excuse of being late to leave quickly. At this moment, Hyunwoo was both scared and uneasy. When Hyunwoo took his son to school, he carefully asked his son if his parents were no longer together in the future, who Junsu would choose to follow. But Junsu hoped his parents would never leave each other. He sensed his father's recent abnormality, so he comforted his father that if Hyunwoo felt work was too stressful, he should relax a bit. Afterward, Junsu also gave his father a lollipop. He originally intended to give it to a female classmate. Junsu encouraged his father that no matter what difficulties he encountered, he should try to overcome them. Seeing his son so sensible, Hyunwoo's heart couldn't be steady. However, Hyunwoo's work still had to continue. The long-prepared program would start filming today. But when Min-jae saw Hyunwoo still coming to the company, he felt worried. Min-jae pulled Hyunwoo out and said today, Sujeon would go to the hotel to meet another man. Yet Hyunwoo still had the mood to work. Min-jae hoped he could talk clearly with his wife. If this marriage truly couldn't be saved, Hyunwoo also had to beat that lover to vent his anger. But because of his son, Hyunwoo didn't want to make things more messy. Although Min-jae tried every way to comfort him, Hyunwoo still felt helpless to the point of going crazy. He could only stand on the yard screaming loudly. At this time, there were only 5 hours left until Sujeon went on her secret date. In the discussion meeting, everyone talked about today's filming. A colleague said that recently there was a very hot post online about a wife's affair. Hyunwoo was startled upon seeing it. Everyone also discussed what they would do if they encountered this. Min-jae said he would beat the other party up, but what if the other party was also fierce? Another colleague said facing this requires calmness. He would investigate the man's family information. Then he would contact that person's family. That would make him lose all honor. Bo-young felt such handling wasn't very good. What everyone was discussing was just hypothetical. What if the poster had no intention of revenge, but just wanted to save his marriage? If the owner of the post followed everyone's way, the final outcome for him could only be divorce. At this time, everyone decided to invite the post owner to participate in filming the program. Hyunwoo was very worried hearing that. He immediately sent a message to Min-jae. Hyunwoo told him that he was the person who posted it. Min-jae immediately stopped colleagues from contacting the post owner. After Hyunwoo's team meeting ended, Jungi's wife, Ara, came to the TV station. She used the excuse of visiting her husband, but actually, she came to monitor Jun-gi. It turned out previously, the TV station invited Jun-gi as a special advisor for filming. He could not only provide legal assistance to the program, but was also very fluent in adultery tricks. Today Jun-gi was supposed to film, but while everyone met, Jun-gi went to find his mistress. Hyun-woo lied that he went out to buy medicine. Afterward, he called to urge Jun-gi to return quickly. Soon after, Jun-gi was present at the company. Thanks to his excellent acting, he successfully deceived his wife. Hyun-woo showed contempt seeing Jun-gi deceive his wife. The two joined forces to persuade Ara to leave. Jun-gi felt much more assured. However, this action angered Hyun-woo. He thought about what was happening to him. He loudly scolded Jun-gi as a jerk because Jun-gi betrayed his wife without any remorse. Hyun-woo thought such a person should be taught a lesson. Jun-gi naturally got scolded and didn't understand anything. He even told Hyun-woo, "Didn't you also betray your wife?" Hyun-woo really couldn't take it anymore. He affirmed he would never betray the marriage, and the truth was Sujeon cheated. Jun-gi stood silently, not knowing what to say. Hyun-woo painfully hid in a corner to smoke. Just then, Bo-young appeared. She told Hyun-woo she admired Ara's action very much. Bo-young's husband also once cheated, but she wasn't as brave as Ara. Because Bo-young didn't want to be hurt, she didn't even dare to ask for the truth clearly. Finally, Bo-young divorced in ambiguity. Now, she felt very regretful. After Hyun-woo heard these words, he was silent and thought a lot. Hyun-woo took out the candy his son gave him. In this moment, he felt full of strength. At this time, there was only 1 hour left until Sujeon arrived at the hotel for the date. Hyun-woo read netizens' comments again. Among them was a comment by nickname Tuna Sara. It once again attracted Hyun-woo's attention. Tuna Sara wrote that using violence could not solve the problem. It couldn't keep the wife nor bring the marriage back to happiness. If Hyun-woo still loved his wife, he should tell her that he loved her more than the other man. Finally, Hyun-woo stood up and decided not to hide anymore. This time, he had to face the cruel truth he previously dared not face. After Hyun-woo handed over today's filming duty to a colleague, he quickly went to the hotel. Jun-gi and Min-jae ran over to cheer Hyun-woo on. Min-jae even took off his vest for him to wear. After Hyun-woo received support from friends, he immediately drove to the hotel. A shocking adultery bust was about to happen. This was the scene of catching a cheating wife that shook all of Korea. Hyun-woo prayed his wife wouldn't appear here. He held his phone to record his entire bust process. Netizens were eagerly waiting. They told Hyun-woo to livestream for everyone to watch. Some told him to beat the lover to death. Some scolded him as a coward. Some even sarcastically said someone like Hyun-woo actually had a wife. There were also people silently waiting for the result. Hyun-woo intended to ask for the room number his wife's lover booked, but he was refused for security reasons. At this time, Min-jae was very worried. Because netizens were discussing excitedly, everyone claimed to be a witness. Someone said Hyun-woo beat his wife's lover into the hospital. Others rumored he was beating his wife. Rumors spread quickly. Fabricated stories sounded like real ones. Min-jae couldn't take it anymore. He ignored work and ran to the hotel to cheer for Hyun-woo. At this time, Korean netizens were all looking forward to the ending. With help from Min-jae, Hyun-woo gained a bit more confidence. At this moment, he couldn't enter the elevator without a room card. Min-jae immediately called for help from netizens. A woman told them that they just needed to book a room to have an elevator card. Hyun-woo hesitated a bit because weekend room rates were very expensive, but now, money wasn't an important issue. Min-jae immediately dragged Hyun-woo to book a room, but the receptionist announced the rooms were fully booked. Min-jae got angry and stomped his feet, causing a scene. This action attracted the attention of people around. Everyone looked at the two with judgmental eyes. They didn't understand why two people could act like that in broad daylight. Min-jae and Hyun-woo were discussing the next plan. The film crew also successfully interviewed the guest. He was Hyun-woo's client. Jun-gi heard a few sentences and guessed the situation immediately. The guest was betrayed by his wife. Jun-gi guessed the clothes he was wearing were a gift from his wife because the color was drab and the size didn't fit. Moreover, the fact that the guest wore clothes underneath showed he didn't like hiking at all. Perhaps this outfit was just a gift the wife bought to reduce guilt, and she also used the excuse of hiking to cheat. Bo-young rejected this analysis. But the answers to the following questions were just as Jun-gi speculated. The guest's wife frequently went hiking. Although this guest was suspicious, for a man's face, he still couldn't open his mouth to ask his wife. When Jun-gi asked if the guest wanted a divorce, he gave an answer identical to Hyun-woo. Divorce isn't easy. For the child's happiness, the guest still wanted to talk clearly with his wife. Then Jun-gi asked if the guest had ever tried not to think about it. His and Hyun-woo's answers were surprisingly consistent. Of course, they couldn't live their whole lives with their wives in suspicion. At this time, the guest received a phone call. Someone had collided with his car. That person wanted to negotiate to resolve the issue. Today, the guest's wife drove to go hiking, but the location of the collision was at a hotel. The film crew immediately decided to go with him to the scene of the incident. On this side, Hyun-woo and Min-jae were also waiting impatiently. It was past 3 p.m., but Sujeon still hadn't appeared with her lover. This made Hyun-woo very happy. He felt he might have wrongly blamed his wife. Min-jae suggested he call his wife to ask where she was. Sujeon told Hyun-woo she was in a meeting, but once a person has sown the seed of suspicion in their heart, this seed will gradually take root and grow strong. Hyun-woo still couldn't help suspecting. At this time, Min-jae received a call from Bo-young. The whole crew was about to go with the guest to the scene. She was afraid she couldn't handle this situation alone, so she could only leave first. However, Hyunwoo was still very sad. Min-jae constantly comforted him. Before, Hyunwoo always trusted everything Soo-jeon said, but now, he didn't dare believe anymore. Finally, Hyunwoo told Min-jae to go do his work. He would face this alone. The film crew arrived at the hotel where the incident occurred. Just then, they saw the guest's wife appearing with another man. But before that, she lied to her husband that she went hiking. The atmosphere became tense. The film crew immediately recorded this catching in the act scene. If this scene was aired, the program would definitely make a big splash. Under the persuasion of the program team, the guest couple agreed to calmly talk to resolve it. However, the cowardly husband hadn't said anything yet, but the erring wife argued back. Not only did she not feel she did wrong, but she scolded her husband as incompetent and cowardly. Even when the husband mentioned the child, she bluntly said she didn't need the child anymore. She just wanted to run away with her lover. The weak husband didn't know what to do. Bo-young got angry hearing that. She rushed over and slapped the wife once. The colleagues present were also very surprised. While the incident here wasn't resolved yet, Hyunwoo also saw a scene he didn't want to witness in his whole life. Soo-jeon held hands with a man walking into the hotel. Hyunwoo clenched his fists, wanting to rush over immediately, but in the end, he could only lie still, helplessly. He just watched his wife and that man go inside. Hyunwoo was so heartbroken he couldn't breathe. He took out the candy his son gave him. He remembered the netizens' comments again. At the last moment when the elevator door was about to close, Hyunwoo put on his hat and rushed into the elevator. As the elevator went up, people slowly stepped out. In the elevator at this time, only 3 people remained. Hyunwoo and his wife also saw each other. Soo-jeon asked her husband why he was here. Hyunwoo lied that he came here for work. At this moment, the elevator became scary quiet. The man named Michael was also very panicked. He asked what floor Hyunwoo intended to go to. Hearing that, Hyunwoo was very angry. Michael stole his wife and still wanted to treat him as a fool. Hyunwoo questioned what Michael was doing, holding a room card if he came to the lobby. The atmosphere in the elevator was suffocating. Hyunwoo stopped pretending. He demanded the 3 go into the room to talk. Hyunwoo constantly reminded himself to be calm. He wanted to tell his wife that he loved her more than any other man. But at this moment, Hyunwoo suddenly remembered Jungi's words. He took out his phone to take pictures of the two as evidence. Afterward, Hyunwoo angrily went into the room. He suppressed his anger and told the two to sit down. Soo-jeon just bowed her head, daring not to look straight into her husband's eyes. Hyunwoo spoke all his thoughts from the past days. Since he discovered that adultery text, every passing day for him was pain and despair. Hearing this, Michael voluntarily admitted his fault. He begged for forgiveness. When Hyunwoo knew the other party had a family, he became even angrier. Hyunwoo couldn't believe that Michael had a wife, but still did such things. He asked if Michael's wife knew about this, and Michael immediately denied it. This made Hyunwoo even crazier. Just then, he saw his wife had taken off her wedding ring. Hyunwoo desperately questioned his wife. Had she really been moved by someone else? Before her husband's question, Soo-jeon couldn't refute. Michael spoke up to explain that he and Soo-jeon never intended to destroy each other's families. Correctly speaking, they just wanted to satisfy their own needs. Although this was an abnormal relationship, they truly loved each other. When Hyunwoo heard those shameless words, he was so angry he didn't know what to say. Although Michael repeatedly expressed that he and Soo-jeon felt guilty, Hyunwoo still couldn't control his anger. He didn't allow Michael to call his wife's name. Then he turned to ask his wife if she had anything to say, but Soo-jeon just said sorry. She affirmed that everything was her fault. Afterward, Soo-jeon continued to be silent. Hyunwoo screamed helplessly. Anger made him forget the intention to hold on to his wife. Instead, Hyunwoo directly proposed divorce. Then he turned and left alone. Before Hyunwoo went out, he turned his head to look at Soo-jeon, but Hyunwoo saw she had no reaction. He angrily punched the door hard. After Hyunwoo went out, he still stood for a while. Hyunwoo hoped his wife would chase after him to save this marriage, but in the end, he only waited for utter disappointment. On this side, Bo-young was detained at the detention center because she beat the guest's wife. Min-jae stood aside laughing amusingly. Because Bo-young was divorced, she couldn't find a guarantor. Min-jae volunteered to be her guardian. After that, he enthusiastically expressed deep feelings for Bo-young. When Jungi and Min-jae knew Hyunwoo had finished dealing with his wife's matter, the two immediately went to pick him up. They were very interested in how he handled the problem. However, Hyunwoo's words made them feel heartbroken. He thought his wife would come out with him. He thought if he proposed a divorce, Soo-jeon would run out to beg his forgiveness. But she didn't chase after him. Afterwards, the three went drinking together. Hyunwoo got drunk and expressed his mood to his two friends. He said Soo-jeon loved a rich man better than him in every way. Before Hyunwoo went to meet his wife, he thought of everything. But when Hyunwoo faced his wife, he didn't know what to do. Jungi thought comforting words were useless, so it was best for Hyunwoo to divorce. Afterward, he should find a woman better than his ex-wife. Min-jae advised Hyunwoo firmly not to divorce. He must take revenge on those two scumbags. On what basis could they live happily? Hyunwoo absolutely couldn't let them live in peace. While the two friends argued, Hyunwoo just silently drank a lot of alcohol. That night, when Hyunwoo returned home, the house once full of happiness now only had silence left. Hyunwoo updated his latest status on social media. Perhaps today would be the last time he updated a post. His marriage had come to an end. Hyunwoo wrote that the three of them had talked together. If his wife didn't want a divorce, divorce and asked for her husband's forgiveness, Hyun-woo would truly forgive and go home with her. However, she very calmly and coldly said everything was her fault. Hyun-woo thought he could only choose to end it all. He loved his wife with his whole life, but she didn't even want to beg his forgiveness to save this marriage. Now divorce was the only option for Hyun-woo. At this moment the doorbell rang. Hyun-woo thought his wife returned. He intended to argue with her, but it turned out the person arriving was his mother. The mother entered the house and didn't see her daughter-in-law and grandson anywhere. She immediately asked where they went. At this moment, Hyun-woo remembered he still hadn't picked up his son. He immediately ran to the kindergarten. The teacher said Jun-soo had been picked up by his mother. Hyun-woo immediately called his wife, but no one answered on the other end. When Hyun-woo returned home, he saw his son at home. Then Soo-jeon appeared, but the two just looked at each other without speaking. Finally, Hyun-woo was the one to speak first. He asked Soo-jeon to follow him. She continued to apologize to her husband, but Hyun-woo only coldly said that after his mother left, he hoped she would leave here quickly. Afterward, Hyun-woo firmly walked out. At the dinner table, the couple didn't say anything. The mother discovered the two had problems, so she met Hyun-woo privately. The mother suspected her son was cheating. Not only did she lecture him, but she also said Soo-jeon worked and took care of the child very hard. Hyun-woo had unspeakable suffering, but because he didn't want to ruin his wife's image, he didn't tell his mother that the cheater was Soo-jeon. After Hyun-woo coaxed his son to sleep, Soo-jeon wanted to talk clearly with him. However, her words only made him angrier. Soo-jeon decided to temporarily stop meeting Michael, but Hyun-woo wasn't satisfied with the word temporarily. It sounded like Soo-jeon said she would meet her lover later. Hyun-woo didn't want to hear any more explanations. He firmly asked his wife to wait for his mother to leave and then leave this house. Soo-jeon saw her husband was so determined, she hesitated for a moment and then turned to leave. Actually, Hyun-woo wasn't as decisive as he appeared. A person who loved his wife like him was just trying to pretend to be calm. Early the next morning, Soo-jeon and her mother-in-law prepared breakfast. Because the mother wanted to help the two reconcile feelings, she told Hyun-woo to take his wife and child to the amusement park. At this time, Hyun-woo had absolutely no mood to go out. Soo-jeon knew her husband's mood well, so she immediately found a way to bail him out. But Hyun-woo didn't care. He let his wife do whatever she wanted. Now, he just felt the anger in his heart couldn't dissipate. When Hyun-woo arrived at the company, Min-jae went to comfort him. Hyun-woo said he was fine. Then he opened the previous post. He didn't expect netizens were still demanding updates. They even conducted a vote. Choose number 1 if agreeing to divorce, and number 2 if wanting Hyun-woo to forgive his wife. Facing thousands of comments from netizens, Tuna Sara's opinion attracted Hyun-woo's attention again. First, she soothed his emotions. Then she asked Hyun-woo if he really wanted to end this marriage. Although Hyun-woo's wife did wrong, he himself also had problems. So he should try to talk to his wife first. Hyun-woo should find out her true thoughts. That afternoon, the company held a meeting to discuss the previously filmed program. Because Bo-young hit the guest's wife, she felt very guilty. Her action caused the guest not to receive the answer he wanted. For example, why did their marriage reach such a stage? What was the cause of the wife's affair? Did the guest do anything wrong? These questions reached Hyun-woo's ears. These were also the things he wanted to know. Everyone discussed very eagerly. Hyun-woo sat aside thinking deeply. While everyone rested for lunch, Bo-young gave Hyun-woo a tuna rice bowl. He remembered the nickname that always comforted him was Tuna Sara. Hyun-woo thought Bo-young was that person. He was about to confirm the other's identity. But right then the boss called Hyun-woo into the office. It turned out the boss received news that another team wanted to recruit Bo-young. This matter had spread in the internal chat group. Hyun-woo found Min-jae to discuss a solution. Unexpectedly, when Min-jae learned this news, he was extremely agitated. He scolded Bo-young as ungrateful. Min-jae was so angry he almost couldn't breathe. Hyun-woo not only didn't get good suggestions, but he also had to comfort Min-jae. That evening, Hyun-woo faced difficulties in both career and love. He was confused and didn't know what to do. Hyun-woo recalled Bo-young's support. She always encouraged him whenever he had trouble. Hyun-woo didn't want to lose this good colleague, so he decided to meet Bo-young directly to talk. After Hyun-woo knew where Bo-young was, he immediately called Min-jae to go to that restaurant together. The two didn't say much and rushed into the private dining room. They saw Bo-young eating with a man. Hyun-woo thought the other party was from another TV station. His purpose was to recruit Bo-young. Hyun-woo excitedly rushed in and said that oppressing Bo-young before was his fault. In the future, he definitely wouldn't be like that anymore. Hyun-woo hoped Bo-young could stay. Unexpectedly, this was just a misunderstanding. Bo-young had no intention of jumping ship. She was just on a blind date. When Hyun-woo knew he ruined someone's good thing, he hurriedly apologized. Then he shyly left the dining room. Min-jae was even more worried knowing Bo-young went on a blind date. The next day, Hyun-woo probed Bo-young about what she thought regarding the post about the wife's affair. Bo-young replied that the man was too cowardly, but she still wanted to encourage the other party. Because Bo-young was also betrayed by her husband, so she didn't want others to suffer the same pain as her. When Hyun-woo heard Bo-young's encouraging words, he assumed she was Tuna Sara. Hyun-woo went back and immediately updated the post. First, he thanked Tuna Sara for the opinion. Then he said he would talk to his wife again. He would sincerely listen to what his wife was thinking. Hyun-woo would try to save this marriage. On the way home, Hyun-woo thought carefully. He realized divorce wasn't the result he wanted. Hyun-woo confidently returned home. home, he discovered his mother had taken Sujon and his son there to stay. Han-woo called Sujon, wanting to talk to her. While Han-woo waited for his wife, he paced anxiously. Han-woo thought about how to open the conversation with his wife. A moment later, Sujon returned. Then the two calmly sat down to talk. Hyun-woo touched their wedding rings. Then he waited to hear his wife explain. Sujon sincerely apologized again. She said she never thought of divorce. Hyun-woo took the opportunity to ask her how long they had been together and how far they had progressed. However, Sujon didn't directly answer his question. Hyun-woo got angry at her attitude. The conversation that was initially peaceful suddenly became an argument. Originally, Hyun-woo wanted to hold on to his wife to save the marriage, but now, he mentioned the divorce issue. Sujon felt she couldn't talk nicely with her husband, so she decided to stay at her mother-in-law's house for a while. But Hyun-woo was angry. He ran after and pulled his wife back. Hyun-woo insisted on hearing the answer he wanted from her own mouth. Sujon angrily said they had been together for 6 months. Hyun-woo continued to ask how far their relationship had developed. Before those pressing questions, Sujon said the answer that completely defeated him. She and her lover had done the most intimate thing with each other, and during this time, Sujon always thought about him. That was why she arranged to meet Michael at the hotel. At this moment, all of Hyun-woo's defenses were completely defeated. That answer made him so painful he couldn't breathe. Hyun-woo suffered a big shock, so he went online to ask Tunasara for help. He didn't know what to do now. Hyun-woo was confused when he didn't receive an answer. He intended to reveal his identity. He planned to find Tunasara himself to ask for clarification, but after Hyun-woo found Bo-young, he realized he had the wrong person. Her forum ID was Pudding, not Tunasara. Hyun-woo discovered he had mistaken the person, immediately ignored it, and quickly left the company. When Hyun-woo got home, he could only use alcohol to hide his emotions. The next day on his way to work, Hyun-woo kept remembering his wife. Sweet memories were still vivid in his mind. But now, Hyun-woo had lost the most precious thing in his life. He couldn't calmly face his wife's betrayal. He couldn't forgive the person who destroyed his family either. If Hyun-woo couldn't get an answer from his wife, then he would find Michael to ask clearly. Hyun-woo rushed into his company with determined eyes. A duel between men was about to happen. As soon as Michael appeared, he clenched his fists preparing to strike. As soon as they met, Michael hurriedly apologized. While Hyun-woo was about to ask an important question, suddenly all lights went out. It turned out colleagues organized a surprise birthday party for Michael. The unexpected incident made Hyun-woo not know what to do. Finally, he was pushed by everyone to take a picture with Michael, while he destroyed Hyun-woo's happiness. Everyone also asked Hyun-woo to smile. Min-jae was extremely angry hearing Hyun-woo recount this story. He just wanted to beat Hyun-woo up. Joon-gi suggested he frame Michael's photo, then hang it in the living room to look at every day. Afterward, Joon-gi and Min-jae started arguing again. They didn't know how to teach Michael a lesson. Seeing the two like that, Hyun-woo could only helplessly leave. When Hyun-woo opened his computer, he saw a new comment from Tunasara. She said hitting the lover couldn't solve the problem either, because that would only make his wife hate Hyun-woo more. What Hyun-woo needed to do was face his wife. Other netizens were furious. Some scolded Hyun-woo as cowardly. Some advised him to duel with the rival. Even some people argued online because of disagreements. At this time, Sujon's mood was also very uncomfortable. Actually, that day, after Hyun-woo proposed divorce and left the hotel, Michael also coldly stood up and left. Her heart was full of regret and guilt. Although the marriage was on the verge of breaking up, for Junsu to enter the art academy he liked, Sujon still asked someone to help get her son a spot. But as soon as Sujon arrived at the company, she received bad news. The boss took away the project Sujon was following just because she had a child. All her sacrifices suddenly vanished. Sujon's family and career both encountered problems. At this moment, Sujon was on the verge of collapse. Meanwhile, Hyun-woo still had to continue his work. They named the new show Dangerous Housewives. To develop the program, Hyun-woo's team needed to collect more materials. But who having an affair would agree to an interview? A colleague mentioned a free dating app for women. They could register accounts and conduct secret interviews. From there, they could collect more materials about adultery. But first, they needed to choose prey. Colleagues looked at Hyun-woo one by one as he was scrolling through his phone. Hyun-woo reluctantly became a high-level agent. He was installed with surveillance equipment all over his body. He just waited for the appointment with the subject. But as soon as Hyun-woo arrived at the dating scene, he discovered something was wrong. The person in the photo and the person outside were vastly different. Hyun-woo wanted to take the opportunity to find out the other's family background. But the woman acted like a pervert. She reached out to touch Hyun-woo and smiled sinisterly. Hyun-woo felt scared and trembled. He hurriedly told his colleagues to withdraw from this case. When Hyun-woo finished work and returned home, the empty house made him feel lonely. In a daze, Hyun-woo saw Sujon's silhouette again. Every corner of the house had her appearance. But when Hyun-woo regained composure, he realized he was the only one in the house. At this time, he could only use alcohol to make himself stop thinking about his wife. At the same time, Sujon was still working and taking care of the child. When Junsu asked about entering art school, Sujon was determined to help her son fulfill his dream. But sensible Junsu told his mother he didn't want to study at the art school anymore. Dad once said not to make mom work too hard, because mom's happiness needed dad and him to protect together. The son's words gave Sujon mixed emotions. Her tears were about to pour out. Hyun-woo lay alone in bed at home. Sujon's voice kept ringing in his head, keeping him awake. Hyun-woo intended to take some medicine to calm down, but he accidentally saw a wallet in the drawer. Hyun-woo remembered yesterday was Michael's birthday. He was sure this was the gift Soo-jeon prepared for Michael. Hyun-woo furiously threw the wallet aside. At this moment, he felt desperate to the point of suffocation. The next day when Hyun-woo went to work, he remembered his wife's words that night. Her heart still remembered Michael. Plus yesterday, Hyun-woo saw that wallet. This time, Hyun-woo's anger reached its peak. He drove to Michael's company. The two men met again. Michael told other colleagues to leave first, and Hyun-woo clenched his fists rushing toward the opponent, but he was scared away by Michael's security. His second revenge campaign failed again. Hyun-woo was aggrieved, not knowing what to do next. Meanwhile, Soo-jeon's situation wasn't any better. Not only was her project taken away, but she also had to deal with the parents group at her son's school. The parents were discussing picking up children from school. Since Soo-jeon previously asked for help to get Jun-soo into art school, she owed them a favor, so Soo-jeon could only reluctantly agree. Although Soo-jeon was exhausted both physically and mentally, she still had to accept the task of picking up students. When Soo-jeon returned to work, she discovered a subordinate's mistake, so Soo-jeon strictly reprimanded the person. During the break, the subordinate came to apologize to her, but at this time, Soo-jeon apologized first, because recently, she was a bit stressed and sensitive. Soo-jeon knew the subordinate did so she could leave early. She didn't want to bother Soo-jeon after work hours. That was why the subordinate worked hastily, leading to mistakes. Soo-jeon understood that things at home affected her work. She always strove for perfection in both family and career, but now, she also felt a bit helpless. This was the hidden suffering of wives. Depressed, Soo-jeon went to meet Michael again. It turned out he was the one who transferred her project. After their affair was discovered by Hyun-woo, Michael immediately changed his attitude. He said the two shouldn't contact each other anymore. Before Michael's coldness, Soo-jeon felt extremely lost. Then, Michael told her that Hyun-woo had come to find him, and he seemed to be a good person. That evening, Hyun-woo called his wife. He talked about going to find Michael, but Soo-jeon felt their matter should be solved by the two of them. Hyun-woo felt his wife was still protecting her lover. Clearly, Soo-jeon did wrong, but from beginning to end, the only person hurt was Hyun-woo. Finally, the two argued again and hung up. Unexpectedly, this time, Michael accepted Hyun-woo's friend request. When Hyun-woo viewed the other's information, he couldn't control the anger in his heart. Michael's profile page was full of photos of his wife and children. He played the role of a dignified man very well. Michael posted happy family photos, but he went to destroy other people's happiness. This time, Hyun-woo determined to settle everything. He went near Michael's house and saw Michael and his wife still living happily. Yet, that man took everything from Hyun-woo. Hyun-woo frantically hit the steering wheel. Then he asked the opponent out. Michael calmly said he understood Hyun-woo's mood, but this time, Hyun-woo only wanted to receive the answer from the opponent's own mouth. After Hyun-woo knew the time caught at the hotel was the only time, he punched Michael in the face once. Michael kept apologizing, but Hyun-woo's family was shattered, so he couldn't calmly accept the other's apology. After Hyun-woo punched Michael one more time, he took out his phone. He wanted Michael to also taste the feeling of a broken family. Hyun-woo demanded he admit to his wife about his affair. Unexpectedly, Michael casually took the phone. Hyun-woo angrily snatched his phone and shouted, "Your husband is cheating with my wife." Michael's wife heard that and didn't say anything. She just silently shed tears. Hyun-woo took revenge on the man who destroyed his family. When netizens learned about this, they all supported Hyun-woo. To know the result of this revenge, an old lady and her daughter-in-law sitting by the road even borrowed a phone to watch. When the old lady knew Hyun-woo had taken revenge, she felt relieved. The next day, Soo-jeon heard colleagues discussing Michael being beaten. She immediately thought surely Hyun-woo did it. On the way home, Hyun-woo didn't feel happy about taking revenge. He didn't understand why only he was trying his best for the marriage. Just as Hyun-woo walked into the house, he saw Soo-jeon sitting there waiting for him. She asked if Hyun-woo beat Michael. Soo-jeon knew her husband not only threatened Michael, but also told his wife about this. Soo-jeon widened her eyes in surprise. She advised Hyun-woo not to continue making a big deal out of it. The two should calmly sit down and talk, but now, Hyun-woo couldn't listen to his wife's words anymore. It only made him feel she was still protecting Michael. Hyun-woo angrily brought out the wallet to question Soo-jeon, but she said this was a gift for him. Hyun-woo uttered a mockery that a woman who didn't even remember the wedding anniversary knew how to give gifts to her husband. The more Hyun-woo spoke, the more agitated he became. He shouted, asking why the hurt person was always him, while Soo-jeon always acted as if she was the victim. This time, Soo-jeon really couldn't take it anymore. She decided to move out of her mother-in-law's house and tell her mother about this. The argument brought everything to an uncontrollable level. While Hyun-woo was in his lowest state, he accidentally discovered the wallet had his initials printed on it. It turned out Soo-jeon didn't lie. This wallet was truly a gift she wanted to give her husband, but their marriage had reached an irreparable point. When Hyun-woo's mother knew her daughter-in-law wanted to separate, she firmly opposed it. At this time, Hyun-woo's mother still thought her son did wrong, so she scolded Hyun-woo. Afterward, she advised the two to think for the child. Soo-jeon felt guilty and wanted to tell the truth, but she was stopped by Hyun-woo. Finally, Hyun-woo's mother told the two to think carefully, because once separated, it would be very hard to get back together. The mother-in-law's words made Soo-jeon think deeply, but but she didn't want the two to continue hurting each other, so she decided to pack her luggage, determined to leave. Finally, Hyun-woo stopped Soo-jeon. He couldn't bear to watch his wife and child suffer outside. Therefore, he decided he would be the one to leave. Hyun-woo had nowhere to go, so he went to the company. He updated his separation online. Netizens were still eagerly following this family's story. They started giving their opinions again. Some thought separation meant marriage was completely over. Some said, because the wife didn't dare to divorce, she chose separation. Some netizens showed anger. They demanded revealing the identities of the people involved. Hyun-woo was uncomfortable with overly malicious comments. Although Hyun-woo's marriage wasn't happy, fortunately, his work made some progress. The boss was very satisfied with Hyun-woo's new program. While everyone was discussing the program, Hyun-woo received a call from a strange number. It turned out Michael's wife wanted to meet him to talk. First, she apologized to Hyun-woo for her husband's actions. But then, her story surprised him. Michael's wife said her husband was a perfect husband. He was also a perfect father. Hyun-woo told Michael's wife that before Soo-jeon knew her husband, she was also a perfect mother and wife. The atmosphere became a bit awkward. Then Michael's wife said she forgave her husband. Hyun-woo didn't understand why she could be so calm. Michael's wife said she was also angry once, but she knew she still loved her husband very much. Therefore, she bravely forgave him. Hyun-woo froze hearing that. He thought both were victims, but he didn't expect she would think like that. Afterward, Michael's wife asked Hyun-woo about him and Soo-jeon. Hyun-woo lied that the feelings between him and his wife wouldn't end so easily. They had reconciled. After a silence, Michael's wife left the restaurant. As for Hyun-woo, he completely collapsed. It turned out only he cared about this matter. He became the only victim in this world. Hyun-woo angrily took off the wedding ring on his hand. He was about to throw it away. But finally, Hyun-woo couldn't bear it. An 8-year marriage couldn't be easily given up. Hyun-woo didn't know what was right to do after all. On this side, Soo-jeon was attending a parents' meeting. A parent knew her husband worked at the TV station, so she wanted Soo-jeon to ask her husband for a favor. That was to find a photographer to take pictures of the students' sports event. Because this parent helped Soo-jeon resolve Junsu's admission, Soo-jeon owed her a favor, so Soo-jeon could only reluctantly agree. That night, Hyun-woo went to a motel alone. Just then, he received a call from his wife. She wanted him to find a photographer to take pictures of their son's sports event at school. Hyun-woo was very angry hearing that. In this situation, Soo-jeon dared to ask for his help. Afterward, he hung up without asking anything. Hyun-woo felt his wife didn't care how he lived outside. Maybe he wasn't in her heart. Hyun-woo struggled to find a place to stay. But the landlady kept knocking on the door demanding to check the room. Angry, Hyun-woo argued with the landlady. It turned out the landlady saw he seemed depressed, so she feared Hyun-woo would do something foolish. Previously, this room had such incidents happen. When Hyun-woo learned someone lost their life here, he was so scared he couldn't sleep. The more Hyun-woo thought, the more scared he felt, so he decided to find another place to sleep. At this time, Soo-jeon returned home and saw her mother-in-law arrive. She even helped her daughter-in-law prepare dinner. When Hyun-woo's mother knew her son moved out, she scolded him for not knowing how to admit mistakes. She thought she had to teach her son again. Soo-jeon, seeing her mother-in-law still protecting her, felt even more guilty. Finally, she couldn't bear the torment in her heart, so she told the truth to her mother-in-law about her cheating. Soo-jeon thought her mother-in-law would get angry, but unexpectedly, after her mother-in-law finished a glass of wine, she didn't show anger but calmly said she could understand Soo-jeon's sacrifice over the years. The mother-in-law also knew how much she loved Hyun-woo. When Hyun-woo was busy with work, Soo-jeon had to rush home as soon as she finished work. It was clearly winter, but Soo-jeon sweated a lot. She had to comfort Junsu as soon as she got home. The mother-in-law saw Soo-jeon's toes turning black from cold. If her mother saw that, she would be very heartbroken. After Soo-jeon finished hearing these words, she couldn't hold back tears. It turned out the mother-in-law saw her sacrifice over the years. At this time, Junsu walked over asking where Dad went. Grandma comforted him that Dad would be back later. Seeing this scene, Soo-jeon felt even more uncomfortable. She never thought her marriage would reach this step. Hyun-woo just walked out of the motel. At this time, he had nowhere to go. He quietly sat alone on the swing. A moment later, Min-jae walked over, seeing Hyun-woo very pitiful. He thought for a while and took Hyun-woo home. Hyun-woo curiously asked why Min-jae never let anyone come home. But just a moment later, he discovered something unusual. Min-jae was clearly married, but there was only one toothbrush in his house. Everything in the house was clean as if few people lived there. There was absolutely no trace of a woman here. Afterward, Hyun-woo went around checking. The suspicions in his heart grew stronger. A box attracted Hyun-woo's attention. Then he remembered the conversation with Min-jae. Hyun-woo once asked where his wife was, but Min-jae replied she wasn't here. A scary thought flashed in Hyun-woo's mind. Taking advantage of Min-jae not paying attention, Hyun-woo tiptoed to the box. Suddenly, Min-jae appeared to stop him. Min-jae knew he couldn't hide it anymore, so he told the truth. It turned out, just 3 days after the wedding, his wife ran away. For many years, Min-jae always lived alone, but the wife running away wasn't something good. Because Min-jae was afraid of being laughed at, he never dared to tell the truth. Min-jae always pretended to have a happy family. Hyun-woo didn't expect Min-jae to be more miserable than him. He hurriedly comforted his friend. But that incident gave Min-jae a big shock. So now he dared not believe in marriage anymore. Just like that, the two started sitting and complaining about their misery. The more they talked, the sadder they got. Finally, they hugged each other together and cried bitterly. The next day, the two arrived at the company with large dark circles under their eyes. Hyunwoo received a call from his wife. Soo-jun mentioned finding a photographer again, but Hyunwoo still didn't care and immediately refused. Soo-jun originally wanted to soothe the relationship, so she advised Hyunwoo to move back home. Then, the couple would talk together. However, Hyunwoo was still angry, so he decided not to return. When Hyunwoo returned to the office, he accidentally saw the wedding ring in the drawer. His thoughts started conflicting again. On this side, Soo-jun was busy with work and caring about the parents' chat group. Huge pressure caused her mental breakdown. Right then, Soo-jun received a call from Michael's wife. As soon as they met, Michael's wife lectured and criticized her. She scolded Soo-jun as just a flirtatious woman chasing her husband. She treated someone else's husband as a savior to escape reality. Michael's wife also warned Soo-jun never to forget the damage she caused to their family. The opponent's insults were like knives stabbing Soo-jun's heart, but she could only bow her head repeatedly saying sorry. When Soo-jun returned to the company, the boss demanded she complete the work today. But at this time, the parents in the group were urging her to pick up the children. Too many things piled up, causing Soo-jun to collapse completely. She only had the way to call asking Hyunwoo for help. He used the excuse that the show aired tonight to refuse his wife. But finally, Hyunwoo was still restless. He left work to pick up Jin-soo. When Hyunwoo saw him sitting in a corner, he felt very sorry for his son. At this time, some parents came to thank him for helping them find a photographer. While Hyunwoo didn't understand what was happening, Soo-jun ran over. As soon as she ran in, she bowed to thank other parents because they helped her look after her son. Soo-jun also prepared gifts for everyone. When Hyunwoo saw his wife bowing and begging in front of outsiders, he was a bit uncomfortable. At this time, a parent mentioned finding a photographer again. This time, Hyunwoo didn't ignore his wife. He agreed to help. After everyone finished talking, Hyunwoo carried his son into the car and turned back to blame his wife. Why did she have to bow like a servant when meeting those people? Even Hyunwoo felt his wife couldn't do anything for Jin-soo. According to him, the reason Soo-jun accepted helping parents find a photographer was that she wanted to show off her ability. But Hyunwoo didn't know everything Soo-jun did was for their son. At this moment, she was too helpless before her husband's thoughts. Finally, the two argued again and left. Hyunwoo went to the party celebrating the show's premiere. Everyone else had left, so only Bo-young remained. She saw Hyunwoo not wearing a wedding ring and asked if he knew what taking off the ring meant. Hyunwoo momentarily didn't know what to say. He recalled the scene just now when taking his son home. Soo-jun tried to carry her son up the stairs. Although it was very difficult, she always persevered. In that moment, Hyunwoo understood his wife's difficulties. Just then, Tuna Sara sent a message to Hyunwoo. She told him to remember the vow at the wedding. The reason the wedding ring is worn on the ring finger, the weakest finger, is because husband and wife need to help each other. They need to make up for each other's shortcomings. So Hyunwoo should try to talk calmly with his wife one more time. Maybe he could still save this marriage. Thinking of this, Hyunwoo said goodbye to Bo-young. Then he ran to the company to get the wedding ring. Hyunwoo decided tonight he would talk clearly with his wife. He wanted to save the nearly broken marriage. But at this time, Soo-jun was completely disappointed. She took off the wedding ring and placed it on the divorce paper. Hyunwoo came home wanting to talk to his wife, but he only saw the wedding ring and divorce paper his wife left. Hyunwoo immediately called his mother asking where his wife was. Mom told him Soo-jun left the child alone and left. Hyunwoo's mother said she also knew the truth. Although Soo-jun made an unforgivable mistake, Hyunwoo shouldn't just be angry but should think about the child too. At this time, Soo-jun sent a message to her husband. She felt every time they met, they argued. That way they only hurt each other more. This made her feel even guiltier. Hyunwoo read the message and was completely desperate. He tore up the divorce paper on the table. He didn't understand why his wife always said sorry but still proposed divorce. After the celebration party, Min-jae drank a lot of alcohol and was no longer sober. He remembered past sad things again. Min-jae collapsed and cried bitterly. Bo-young was also helpless with him, so she could only use cardboard to surround him. Bo-young also stuck a sticky note on Min-jae's head. The note read, "Tomorrow morning 7 o'clock, please wake me up." Soo-jun applied for long-term leave because of successive events. It exhausted her both physically and mentally. Finally, Soo-jun boarded a train leaving the city. That evening, Hyunwoo went to Min-jae's house but saw no one home. He sat drinking alone and reading netizens' comments again. Everyone thought he had reconciled with his wife. They all said Tuna Sara's opinion was very effective. Unexpectedly, Hyunwoo got drunk and replied that Tuna Sara was crazy. She only knew philosophical theory and her suggestions were useless. Then, Hyunwoo updated that his wife had left home and left divorce papers. Netizens immediately changed direction. They even felt he divorced because he listened to Tuna Sara. The next morning, Hyunwoo received a call from Min-jae. Although Hyunwoo knew their show had very high ratings, he still couldn't smile. While Min-jae was rejoicing, he suddenly discovered himself lying on the street. He wondered what was happening. Afterward, Min-jae and Hyunwoo met at a noodle shop. Hyunwoo told him his wife left divorce papers. Min-jae was shocked hearing that. He felt Soo-jun was really too much. She did wrong and still demanded divorce first. At this moment, there was gossip behind the two. It turned out yesterday, after Hyunwoo got drunk, he posted a viral article. Min-jae opened his phone and saw Hyunwoo suddenly became famous because of his wife's affair. Afterward, Min-jae went with Hyunwoo to the company. company. Colleagues were rejoicing because of the show's success, but Hyunwoo had no mood to share the joy. He called his wife but couldn't contact her forever. Although his career was achieving success, his wife leaving still messed up his mood. When Hyunwoo opened the computer, he saw a new comment from Tunasara. She thought the reason he was angry was that he still loved his wife. She hoped Hyunwoo wouldn't regret whatever decision he made. But at this time, Hyunwoo no longer believed the other party's words. He immediately retorted that Tunasara always reminded him to remember happy days with his wife. She always advised him to try to understand his wife. But now, Hyunwoo's wife proposed divorce. What else did Tunasara have to say? At this time, Soo-joon tiredly returned to her hometown. Her father saw his daughter returning alone and realized something, but he didn't ask anything. He just went into the house to prepare food for Soo-joon. When Soo-joon's father finished cooking, he discovered his daughter was too tired and fell asleep. After the father covered Soo-joon with a blanket, he quietly went out. He didn't know what happened to his daughter. He couldn't help, so he could only sit outside smoking. Just as Soo-joon slept for a while, she was woken up by message sounds in the parent group. Soo-joon used the excuse of a business trip to avoid. Afterward, her phone constantly notified many missed calls from her husband. But at this moment, Soo-joon just wanted to be alone, so she turned off her phone. Then Soo-joon went to her father's side. Father and daughter sat talking to each other. Unexpectedly at this moment, Hyunwoo called his father-in-law. He intended to ask his father-in-law if Soo-joon was there, but after Hyunwoo asked a few greeting sentences, he still couldn't open his mouth. Hyunwoo became more and more confused. He could only send a message to Soo-joon. He hoped the two could talk. That night, Soo-joon worriedly called her son. Junsu sensibly said it was okay if mom came back a little late. It was just that he missed his parents. The innocent words of her son made Soo-joon feel guilty. Soo-joon couldn't sleep, holding a book to read, but she accidentally flipped to the message Hyunwoo wrote. Soo-joon remembered when they were still in love. No matter how busy they were, they always spent time stargazing together. They even promised to go stargazing with their son in the future. Soo-joon and her husband used to love each other like that, but now everything changed. Soo-joon's mistake pushed her marriage to the brink of the abyss. The next day, Soo-joon packed up to prepare to return. Her father said nothing, but gave his daughter some money. He told her to buy her grandson some delicious food. Afterward, Soo-joon's father followed the car for a long stretch to see his daughter off, until the car went far and Soo-joon didn't see her father anymore. She burst into tears. As soon as Soo-joon returned to Seoul, she immediately went to pick up her son. Jun-soo asked if mom was coming home tonight. Soo-joon didn't know how to answer, but Hyunwoo appeared saying she would come home. The two tried not to argue in front of their son. They decided to temporarily put aside all conflicts to go home together. This time, the two could sit down to talk. Hyunwoo wanted to know the real reason his wife cheated. Finally, Soo-joon gathered the courage to tell the truth. Actually, she had always been suffering. She reluctantly struggled to complete both family and career tasks well, because Soo-joon didn't want anyone to be disappointed. Clearly, she knew she couldn't take it anymore, but she still pretended nothing happened. Soo-joon tried to smile facing everyone. Soo-joon not only faced work pressure, but housework and childcare took up all her time. Soo-joon really felt herself too tired. Just as she felt she couldn't take it anymore, Michael suddenly appeared. He brought Soo-joon care. That was what she had always lacked. In front of Michael, Soo-joon could freely be herself. He made her immerse in fake happiness. Finally, Soo-joon stepped over the moral boundaries step by step. After Hyunwoo heard his wife explain, he absolutely couldn't understand. Hyunwoo felt he was also very tired. But isn't adult life all like that? Could it be just because of a small matter that one can betray the family? Before her husband's criticism, Soo-joon cried silently. Finally, she made her decision. Soo-joon wanted their marriage to end here. The next morning, Soo-joon took her child to a friend's house to play. Hyunwoo misunderstood that she intended to take the child away, so he immediately pulled his son's hand back, not letting him go. Hyunwoo also promised to take Jun-soo to the zoo today. Although Jun-soo really wanted to go to his friend's house, Hyunwoo told his wife he absolutely didn't allow her to take their son away. When neighbors saw this attitude of the two, they also guessed the two were about to divorce. Hyunwoo was alone at home, experiencing loneliness again. Without his wife by his side, Hyunwoo couldn't even cook instant noodles. While Hyunwoo was depressed, Min-jae and Joon-gi brought wine to visit him. At this time, Hyunwoo spoke all the pain stored in his heart. Obviously, he also worked very hard, but never complained to his wife. Even when Hyunwoo was sick, the first thing he thought of wasn't the pain, but he feared if he died, how his wife and child would live. Not only that, Hyunwoo had to endure all sorts of things to earn money, just because he wanted to give his wife and child a better life. After Hyunwoo heard his friend's advice, he decided he must do what he wanted to do in the future. Then, Hyunwoo decided that from now on, he didn't need to live by rules anymore. He also needed to pamper himself a little. The three men went to a karaoke bar, screaming their hearts out. They also danced together very happily. After the three finished singing, Hyunwoo demanded to do interesting things his wife didn't allow before. Joon-gi thought it was something interesting. It turned out to be just catching teddy bears. But the two still silently followed Hyunwoo. On this side, because Jun-soo hadn't adapted to the new house, he wet the bed. Jun-soo told his mother he missed home. Soo-joon hugged her child and felt extremely sad. That night, she washed dirty clothes for her son. When Soo-joon recalled the words Hyunwoo said, she silently shed tears. On this side, Joon-gi was curious if there were other women around Hyunwoo. Finally, he discovered Hyunwoo's phone phone only saved men's numbers. Jungi was determined to check his social media. Indeed, he found a girl. That girl was Hunwoo's first love. Moreover, she recently divorced. Jungi immediately had the idea that Hunwoo just divorced, and his first love appeared. Isn't this fate? So Jungi urged Hunwoo to message the other party, but he refused. Jungi had to use his expert status to explain that although Hunwoo and his first love broke up many years ago, the other party still kept contact with him. That proved she still had feelings for him in her heart. Although Hunwoo wanted to refuse, he couldn't stop his friend. Finally, Hunwoo sent a message to the girl. The three men waited all night but didn't receive a reply. The next morning, Hunwoo's first love replied. She asked if Hunwoo was okay recently. Jungi felt this meant she still had Hunwoo in her heart. On this side, Sujan took her son to school in the morning. Parents discovered they hadn't seen Hunwoo for a long time. They felt this couple had something going on. Maybe the two were about to divorce. This conversation was heard by Junsu. When Sujan returned to the company, her colleagues also gossiped about this. At this time, Junsu's teacher called Sujon because Junsu hit a classmate. When Sujon asked why he fought, Junsu said nothing. At the same time, Hunwoo was pacing back and forth in front of his first love's cafe. He was about to leave when she called him back. The two hadn't met for 15 years, but at this time, they started talking about their current lives. Hoon remembered Hunwoo liked putting sugar in coffee. Afterward, they went to dinner together. The two recounted happy times in the past. While Hunwoo was reminiscing about old memories with his first love, his son was playing alone lonely. Because Sujan was busy with work and couldn't play with him, she felt extremely guilty about this. The next day when Sujan went to work, the parent group discussed children's tutoring again. At this time, a parent forwarded a hottest post online. When Sujan clicked to view, she was very surprised because the cheating wife in the article was her. Sujan angrily called Hunwoo, questioning if he was the one who posted that article. Hunwoo didn't expect his wife to see that post. He momentarily didn't know what to say. Sujan angrily asked if he liked letting others laugh at him like that. Hunwoo explained that at that time he was too depressed, so he posted the article. Moreover, no one knew the poster's real identity. Hunwoo admitted posting was due to his lack of consideration, but Sujan also had no right to criticize him. The two spoke a few sentences then argued again. Sujan helplessly hung up. Hunwoo sadly went to find Bo Young for help. She said she could understand Sujan's difficulty. She was like a glass filled with water. Just adding one drop would make the water overflow. Sometimes a wife only needs her husband to give encouragement and comfort when she needs it most. Sometimes, just saying you worked hard can motivate her. At this time, Sujan called telling Hunwoo their son was taken away. Hunwoo and Bo Young immediately ran there. As soon as they met, Sujan cried and apologized to her husband, but Hunwoo angrily shouted that crying now was useless. Afterward, they split up to find Junsu. A while later, Min-jae called informing Hunwoo that Junsu was hit by a car. Hunwoo hurriedly ran to the hospital. He angrily criticized Sujan for not knowing how to look after the child. He even chased her away. From now on, Junsu would be cared for by him. Hunwoo stood in front of Junsu's hospital bed. He held his son's hand and constantly apologized. However, sensible Junsu said he was sorry to his father because he couldn't help his father take good care of his mother. Junsu noticed his mother was very tired. Every day, his mother had to work until late at night, and once he even saw his mother having a nosebleed. Afterward, Junsu asked Hunwoo what divorce was, because his classmate said his parents divorced. Later, he wouldn't see his parents anymore. Precisely because of this, Junsu hit his friend. This matter made Sujan very angry. Junsu promised later he wouldn't fight anymore. He hoped his father could spend more time with his mother. After Hunwoo heard his son finish speaking, he felt even more uncomfortable. He promised Junsu that he would definitely protect his wife. Sujan heard this and couldn't hold back tears. As she intended to leave, Min-jae ran over and stopped her. He hoped she could calmly read Hunwoo's post carefully. That post contained all his sincerity. After Sujan returned, she opened the post and read attentively. Thanks to that, she also understood her husband's pain and struggle over the past time, as well as the hurts she caused him. The post not only contained the husband's feelings for Sujan, but also emotions he had never spoken out. Finally, Sujan left a comment under Hunwoo's post. She said she wouldn't go back to her husband anymore. After Sujan understood everything, she couldn't forgive herself even more. If one of the spouses betrayed the family, could the betrayed person truly forget that past? Sujan understood her husband's psychology during this phase, so finally, she felt guilty and chose to leave. As for Hunwoo, he took his injured son home. The next morning, Hunwoo woke up preparing to take his son to school, but as soon as he left the room, he stepped on toys on the floor. Hunwoo saw the messy room, but didn't know what to do. After Hunwoo hurriedly packed his son's school bag, he hurriedly fed Junsu. Then he carried his son running fast to the school bus. At this time, Hunwoo realized he was almost late for work. After Hunwoo finished taking his son to school, he immediately ran to the company. Because the previous program had breakthrough ratings, it quickly attracted the favor of Japanese customers. However, Hunwoo had absolutely no mood for the meeting. He was still worried because no one picked up his son in the evening. Hunwoo constantly looked at the watch. He waited forever for work to end to pick up his son. But when Hunwoo arrived, the teacher told him that a classmate's parent helped take Junsu to the art class. After Hunwoo thanked the teacher, he couldn't help but exclaim. Except for when enlisting in the army, Hunwoo had never been this busy. In the evening, evening when Hyun-woo bathed his son, Jun-soo said he missed his mother again. Hyun-woo couldn't tell his son the truth. He could only hug his son in the bathroom. Afterward, Hyun-woo encountered a difficult problem again. The kindergarten required parents to help children complete handicraft homework, but a man like Hyun-woo knew nothing about sewing. Finally, he came up with an idea. He used a stapler to help his son create a very ugly doll. However, Jun-soo didn't accept that product. Hyun-woo had no other way. He could only pay to hire someone to do it, but Jun-soo said this must be completed with parents. In this moment, Hyun-woo understood that raising children wasn't just taking them to school or feeding them. The next morning, Hyun-woo took his son to school, but he discovered the kindergarten was closed today. Finally, he could only take his son to the company. Hyun-woo couldn't help his son complete homework. He noticed a female colleague nearby. He wanted to ask her to help make the doll. At this time, Soo-jeon called. She was worried about her son's situation. Hyun-woo, for the sake of pride, still said he took care of the child very well. Afterward, he asked for Ji-hun's mother's phone number, so later he could conveniently contact when picking up the child. At this time, besides Jun-soo's matters, Hyun-woo and his wife had nothing else to talk about. At the company, Soo-jeon was suffering discrimination. The boss knew she was about to divorce recently. He worried this would affect work progress. Therefore, the boss cancelled Soo-jeon's project. Before the boss's cold attitude, she was also extremely helpless. Soo-jeon could only constantly assure the boss that she wouldn't let personal matters affect work. When Soo-jeon came out of the boss's office, she leaned weakly against the door. The feeling of loss and disappointment made her depressed. On Hyun-woo's side, everything was completely different. The new project exploded, pulling his career to develop strongly too. His boss was thinking about the department's future. At this time, Hyun-woo's phone rang. It turned out Ji-hun's mother added him to the parents' chat group. A pile of messages gave him a headache, so he had absolutely no mood to work. Information in the parent group was all trivial matters, but to build a good relationship with them, Hyun-woo could only say a few sentences to get by. Unexpectedly, he accidentally sent a message to the work group. Because of that, Hyun-woo was scolded straight in the face by the boss. To quickly integrate into the parent group, Hyun-woo spent a lot of effort. He carefully read every piece of information, even though he wasn't interested. In the afternoon, when Hyun-woo was working, mothers in the parent group chatted about their daily work again. This distracted Hyun-woo, so he caused a big error in the program. Hyun-woo complained to colleagues that the parent group kept talking about useless things. It made him unable to focus on work. A female colleague told Hyun-woo that this type of social interaction was unavoidable. The relationship between mothers would last until the child entered elementary school. Because of the child, they still needed to build good relationships with other parents. At this time, Hyun-woo understood why his wife always tried to please other parents before. Yet Hyun-woo didn't understand her. He even insulted her as a servant of other parents. That afternoon, Hyun-woo received a call from a classmate. The friend announced that Hyun-woo's university professor had passed away. Tomorrow, he had to attend the funeral, so he could only ask Jun to take care of Jun-soo. At the funeral, Hyun-woo met Soo-jeon again. Both felt very awkward, but in front of classmates, they still pretended to be very happy. When eating, a classmate suggested going stargazing tonight. Hyun-woo and Soo-jeon could only reluctantly go with them. A female classmate asked Soo-jeon why a school beauty like her accepted marrying Hyun-woo. Soo-jeon smiled and said she liked Hyun-woo first. Although everyone said he was cowardly and indecisive, she felt he was very cautious and calm. Being with him would definitely be happy. These sincere words touched Hyun-woo's heart. The two looked at each other. Their hearts felt the vibration of the old days again. Back at the professor's funeral, Soo-jeon saw Hyun-woo sewing the doll for his son. He clumsily sewed the doll's hand onto the head. Soo-jeon took the doll and helped him sew each stitch meticulously. Hyun-woo complained that taking care of his son was quite troublesome. The image of the two together was warm and happy. But good things are always short. After Soo-jeon finished sewing the doll for the child, she quietly stood up and left. The next day, when everyone prepared to return, Hyun-woo actively drove Soo-jeon back. On the way, Soo-jeon called her son. Jun-soo said he missed mom very much. He asked when mom would be back. Soo-jeon couldn't answer that question, so she hurriedly hung up her son's phone. The atmosphere in the car suddenly became awkward. Finally, Hyun-woo was the first to speak. He asked if she felt very tired before, but Soo-jeon immediately denied it. During the few days Hyun-woo took care of his son, he realized many things. Besides taking out the trash and taking Jun-soo to kindergarten, Hyun-woo had many other things to care about. Before, Soo-jeon did those things, but Hyun-woo never understood her. Soo-jeon heard this and just remained silent. Returning home, she thought for a long time. Finally, she commented anonymously under Hyun-woo's post. Soo-jeon asked if he could forget the mistakes his wife made. Hyun-woo read the comment and started thinking. Afterward, he replied that he could forget it, and he also forgave his wife. Hyun-woo's post hadn't been updated for a long time, but today it suddenly had a new update. Some netizens sent blessings to Hyun-woo. Some were not optimistic about this marriage. Some were even angry enough to insult poster. They thought the wife needed to be punished. However, one comment surprised Hyun-woo very much. Tuna Sara, who always advised him to save the marriage, also left a comment. She said even if Hyun-woo forgave his wife, he could never forget that mistake. However, Hyun-woo experienced his wife's hardship. He believed he could forget the past. Hyun-woo could start over with his wife, but he didn't know a bigger storm was about to come. That day, Hyun-woo asked Min-jae and Bo-young to help look after his child, while he went to find Sujeon. The couple sat together to talk. Perhaps it had been a long time since they had the chance to sit calmly together. This time, the conversation atmosphere was much more comfortable. Both smiled happily, but they didn't know a disaster was quietly coming. An aggressive netizen found their real information. At this time, Bo Young went to Min Jae's house to help take care of Junsu. She looked at the messy house and couldn't help but curse a few sentences. The two cooked and argued. Seeing that, Junsu couldn't help but tease them to be careful of falling in love. He also said the two looked good together. Then, Min Jae teased Bo Young again. He suggested they have a baby together, but Bo Young threatened to beat him up. The more they talked, the more affectionate they became. The next day, when Hyunwoo came to pick up his child, he heard two colleagues say, Junsu prepared a birthday gift for his mom. They reminded Hyunwoo that he could take this opportunity to express his feelings. Min Jae and Bo Young took care of Junsu for only 2 days, but were already tired, so they decided to go relieve stress for a day. But they argued again after eating just a few bites. A person sitting nearby heard their story. He commented that they were a good match, but Bo Young affirmed that even if all men in the world died, she wouldn't bother loving Min Jae. Afterward, a group of strangers sat together. Everyone drank happily. On the other side, Hyunwoo chose a flower basket as a birthday gift for his wife. He also carefully asked the shop owner to write a wish. Immediately after, Sujeon received a large basket of roses. Colleagues admired her very much, but when Sujeon opened the greeting card, she was very surprised. The card wrote, "A woman betraying family like you doesn't deserve forgiveness. Maybe your husband will forgive you, but I absolutely won't." Reading it, Sujeon was extremely panicked. She felt this definitely related to her husband's post. Afterward, Sujeon immediately opened that post. Indeed, she discovered under the article someone commented they would expose her identity. Sujeon was extremely worried at this moment. She looked at colleagues around and felt anyone could be the person who knew. Sujeon looked around in terror. The phone ringing also startled her. It turned out Junsu borrowed the teacher's phone to wish his mom a happy birthday. At this time, Sujeon paced confusedly in the corridor. The parent group chat had messages from mothers again. Among them, someone said the leaker revealed the female lead in the post was a graphic designer. Jihoon's mother asked if Sujeon knew that person. Wasn't she also a graphic designer? A parent also said if that female lead was exposed, that person definitely couldn't live. Her child would be talked about by everyone and wouldn't dare to meet anyone. Sujeon worriedly didn't know what to do. On the way back, she was like a soulless person. Sujeon always felt there was a pair of eyes watching her around. When Sujeon got home, she saw her husband and son happily celebrating her birthday. She could only force a smile. The whole family happily celebrated Sujeon's birthday. Hyunwoo also gave her a star necklace. After Junsu fell asleep, Sujeon intended to tell Hyunwoo about what happened today, but in the end, she still couldn't speak. That night, when Bo Young viewed Hyunwoo's post, she accidentally discovered someone sent flowers threatening Sujeon. The other party also said they would reveal her real identity. Bo Young immediately told this to Hyunwoo. Hearing this, he was very angry. Hyunwoo absolutely didn't expect his post to lead to such serious consequences. He immediately called to comfort Sujeon and apologized to her. If Hyunwoo hadn't posted that article, things wouldn't have come to this. Hyunwoo assured Sujeon he would definitely handle this matter smoothly. But at this time, Sujeon calmed down. She said she indeed made a mistake. So even if Sujeon was criticized by others, it was okay. But what about her son? Hyunwoo comforted his wife that everything would be fine. This incident made the two temporarily forget the crack in their marriage. The next day, Hyunwoo found Min Jae and Bo Young to discuss the handling plan. Bo Young felt the leaker either wanted attention or that person considered this problem his problem. He vented his suffering on Sujeon. Hearing that, Hyunwoo was enlightened. He reread all comments under his post. Afterward, Hyunwoo selected extreme netizens, then recorded their IDs. But now, anyone could be the leaker. It was hard to distinguish who was more suspicious. Helpless, Hyunwoo could only post another article. He said he had forgiven his wife, so he begged the other party not to reveal his wife's identity. Netizens flocked to comment. They urged the leaker to publicize the female lead in the post. At this time, the leaker left a comment that the type of woman cheating was absolutely unforgivable. If Hyunwoo couldn't leave his wife, the leaker would help him punish her. Tomorrow night, the leaker would expose the true identity of that female lead. Reading this comment, Hyunwoo worriedly didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, Sujeon was also in a panic state. Insecurity made her sensitive to surrounding things. When Sujeon thought of hurting her son, she was even more in pain. Hyunwoo wanted to save the family, so he posted again asking the other party not to reveal his wife's identity. Some netizens agreed but some opposed, but the leaker was determined to punish Sujeon. Hyunwoo couldn't do anything to him. The next night, all netizens attentively waited for the news to be announced. As the time approached for the other party to release information, Hyunwoo couldn't stop everything from happening. Panicked, he could only type constantly. Hyunwoo repeated that he forgave his wife, hoping to stop the other party from revealing information. At the same time, Sujeon was also following the post. She looked at her husband's comments and was extremely moved. Sujeon commented that she was the wife of the post owner. Indeed, she made a mistake, so even if she was exposed, it was fine. But Sujeon didn't want her husband and child to be hurt because of it. Unexpectedly, this action provoked the leaker. He thought Sujeon was trying to pull others' pity because she feared her identity would be revealed. Just then, Hyunwoo's computer ran out of battery. battery. He plugged in the power and turned on the computer immediately. At this time, Hyunwoo was about to go crazy. He nervously waited for the computer to start. Unexpectedly, the online post was flooded with comments. Many people were moved by the affection of Hyunwoo's couple. They left messages saying they forgave Hyunwoo's wife. So the leakers should stop here. The netizens' action moved Sujeon very much. At the same time, a person who had been following this incident for a long time took action. He hacked the forum and investigated the leaker's IP address. Immediately after, Hyunwoo received the address the other party sent. He immediately ran to that place. However, Hyunwoo couldn't believe the leaker was his boss. Under Hyunwoo's coercion, the boss also told the reason he did so. It turned out he used all his savings to support his wife and children living abroad, but in the end, he was betrayed by his wife. When the boss read Hyunwoo's post, he turned from sympathetic to furious. That was why he did this. Hearing this, Hyunwoo also sympathized and shed tears. Maybe this tear was him crying for himself. The boss woke up and posted saying it was all just his joke. The boss did so just to get attention. The crisis was perfectly resolved. Hyunwoo's family was happy together again. Sujeon also had a warm birthday. When Sujeon prepared to leave, Hyunwoo spoke words from the bottom of his heart. He admitted he ignored his wife's feelings, so she had to silently endure too much. These sincere words made both tear up. Hyunwoo's couple hugged each other. They thought they were about to have a perfect ending, but at this moment, scenes from the past appeared in Hyunwoo's mind. He instinctively pushed his wife away. Hyunwoo intended to hug her again, but those obsessions made him unable to forget. Sujeon saw her husband still couldn't untie the knot in his heart. She could only sadly leave. Perhaps this was the real reaction of a man after being betrayed by his wife. Hyunwoo and Sujeon fell into deep thought again. Sujeon told her husband that previously she left a comment asking if he could forget his wife's mistake. Hyunwoo was a bit surprised hearing that. To save this 8-year marriage, Hyunwoo immediately said he would try to forget. Then he pointed to the family photo and affirmed surely the two could return to the beginning. But at this time, Sujeon clearly realized they couldn't go back anymore. Hyunwoo still wanted to try, but Sujeon knew there are things the more you want to forget, the more you can't forget. Seeing no way out, Hyunwoo advised his wife to think for the children, because divorce would cause great hurt to Junsu. He also suggested the two could temporarily separate. Hyunwoo constantly deceived himself. He told Sujeon they just needed to give themselves a little time, then they could start over. At this time, Hyunwoo was very distressed. Why did he choose to forgive, but still couldn't forget that matter? The next morning, Hyunwoo's couple sat on the sofa. Both didn't sleep all last night. Finally, Hyunwoo could only choose to escape. He used the excuse of going to work to go out. Sujeon tearfully watched her husband leave. When Hyunwoo arrived at the company, he saw Jungi's wife arrive. Ara told him she was preparing to divorce Jungi. Hyunwoo didn't understand why Ara knew her husband's behavior clearly, but always kept it hidden. Now she suddenly wanted a divorce. Ara explained that in the past, she only deceived herself because she still loved her husband very much. She chose to pretend not to know anything. Ara hoped to use her love to influence her husband, but finally, she realized no matter how she deceived herself, she couldn't forget the scene of her husband being with someone else. Ara felt like she was standing on the edge between love and hate. She realized she was gradually becoming a devil. Therefore, Ara decided to end such a life. Before leaving, Ara suddenly apologized to Hyunwoo because she once left a comment reminding Hyunwoo to think about the real reason his wife cheated. He should think if he did anything wrong. Now when Ara thought back, she realized she was wrong. No reason can justify betrayal. Finally, Ara gave sincere advice. The betrayed person can forgive but cannot forget. The more they struggle to forget, the clearer they remember. So Ara advised Hyunwoo to face reality. At this time, he realized she was Tunasara, who always encouraged him online. After Ara left, Hyunwoo recalled the words she said. Finally, he also saw reality clearly. Hyunwoo always thought he could forget his wife's betrayal, but the truth was he couldn't forget. After Hyunwoo thought through, he went to meet Sujeon. Hyunwoo constantly apologized to her, but Sujeon said the person who should apologize must be her. Although the two regretted the marriage that lasted 8 years, finally, they still decided to let go. The next day, they went to do divorce procedures. Sujeon received custody of the son. When Hyunwoo looked at the sky-high monthly alimony, he signed without hesitation. When the staff confirmed with them the time the husband could see the child, the two looked at each other discussing. Sujeon worried Hyunwoo caring for the child on weekends would be hard, but he worried if he met the child at another time, Sujeon would be harder. The staff had never met a couple divorcing like them. She looked at them with a confused face. Afterward, the two started arguing about the house again. They both wanted to leave the house to the other. The staff suspiciously asked, "Are you really here to divorce?" After procedures were completed, the two officially filed for divorce. The atmosphere in the elevator was scary silent. Other couples were arguing about child custody and housing, while Hyunwoo and Sujeon just sat silently on one side. When the staff called Hyunwoo's name, he seemed to hesitate. After completing everything, they still had to watch an educational video about divorce. The video showed the pain of children when parents divorce. In the video, there was also the sound of children crying calling parents, making viewers hurt like 1,000 knives stabbing into the heart. Sujeon sadly shed tears incessantly. Hyunwoo was also extremely miserable. In the evening, the two told the divorce decision to Hyunwoo's mother. She excitedly said she firmly opposed. She didn't understand why Hyunwoo forgave Sujeon, but the two still still insisted on divorce. Hyun-woo's mother advised her daughter-in-law to think more. She should think about Jun-soo's future, but things now were irreversible. The harm caused by divorce not only affects the insiders, but also spreads to many others. Afterward, the two went to announce to Soo-jeon's father. The father said nothing but just sat drinking. Soo-jeon guiltily apologized to dad, but he burst into tears and said he wronged his child. Hyun-woo said it was all his fault. It was because he couldn't make Soo-jeon happy. Initially, when Hyun-woo took Soo-jeon away, he swore to make her the happiest person. But now, he couldn't fulfill that promise. So Hyun-woo only knew to say sorry to Soo-jeon's father. No one in the family felt happy. The hardest thing was facing Jun-soo. Hyun-woo took the opportunity to take his son out to play. He cautiously told his son that later parents would live separately, and Jun-soo would follow mom. Afterward, Hyun-woo asked his son if he remembered what he said. When Jun-soo didn't have dad by his side, he must take care of mom for dad, because later his parents wouldn't live together anymore. Hyun-woo wiped tears for his son and said mom taking care of him alone was very hard. So later, Jun-soo must help dad take care of mom. Hyun-woo and his son hugged each other. He constantly repeated the apology. He expressed guilt and love for his son. On moving day, the two packed things together. Objects in the house were full of memories. Soo-jeon left the son's photo album for Hyun-woo. In it were photos marking each day he grew up. Hyun-woo felt truly heartbroken. The next day after Hyun-woo went to work, Soo-jeon looked back at the house attached to her husband for years. Every corner contained their sweetness. Soo-jeon recalled the confused feeling when cooking for her husband for the first time. She recalled her husband's surprise when knowing she was pregnant. But now, they couldn't go back to those days anymore. Thinking of this, Soo-jeon couldn't control sobbing. Hyun-woo's life and work still had to continue. He announced to netizens that he divorced. This was a choice he thought about for a long time before deciding. Hyun-woo thanked everyone for helping and encouraging him over the past time. Before, he only blamed his wife without reviewing himself. Now, Hyun-woo's story ended. This was the ending he wrote for this post. He sincerely wished all netizens following the article happiness. At this time, those who always followed the post were enlightened. The couple, arguing all day, started to understand each other better. The man intending to jump into the river didn't collapse anymore. He prepared to start a new, better life. The man previously furious with their story finally regained courage to continue living. On the first night after Soo-jeon left, Hyun-woo seemed to feel something missing around him. He opened the refrigerator and accidentally read Soo-jeon's note. Then he looked at the lunchboxes she left. An indescribable bitterness rose in his heart. Hyun-woo wanted to eat a delicious meal to feel more comfortable. But in the night without wife and son, nostalgia made him seem a bit let down. Hyun-woo intended to go to the fridge to get some kimchi, but when he opened the fridge, uncontrollable emotions exploded immediately. This was the sincere monologue of a woman after divorce. After Soo-jeon's husband posted the divorce news online, he had to endure attacks from some netizens. Soo-jeon couldn't bear those malicious comments. Therefore, she left a comment under the post. Soo-jeon admitted she was the cheating wife. She accepted what happened was her fault. Hyun-woo was always a very warm person, so Soo-jeon hoped everyone wouldn't insult him just because he chose divorce. Afterward, Soo-jeon told about her journey over many years. She and her husband met at the University Astronomy Club. Then the two knew each other and fell in love. Finally, they held hands walking into the ceremony. After Soo-jeon and Hyun-woo got married, they had a lovely child. Very quickly after that, their son was 2 years old. Because Soo-jeon didn't want to give up work, she could only send the child to kindergarten. Although Soo-jeon tried her best, she still couldn't balance the relationship between family and work. Every day she was extremely busy. At that time, Soo-jeon felt she had reached the limit. Even though she saw her son isolated by friends, she couldn't do anything. Now Soo-jeon thought back and realized whether she was a mother or a company employee, she couldn't do the task well. Later, so the son wouldn't be isolated anymore, Soo-jeon started trying to integrate into the parent group. Even if Soo-jeon had to search everywhere, she had to buy the toys the kids liked. Every time the kindergarten had outdoor activities, Soo-jeon prepared lunchboxes for all students. Every day, she also had to reply to messages from parents. Soo-jeon wanted to leave early, but also had to watch colleagues' faces. After that, she traveled for 2 hours to pick up her child from school. When life pressure made Soo-jeon tired, that man appeared. He brought her time to rest. During the time Soo-jeon was with him, she no longer had to think about life's troubles. Her tired soul had rare moments of rest. Soo-jeon was like a young person yearning to chase a balloon. Finally, she was mesmerized running after it into the distance. Soo-jeon admitted, if that day her husband didn't appear at the hotel, she would still continue cheating. As for the current relationship between Soo-jeon and Hyun-woo, it was like a finished novel. It reached a clear and painful ending. What happened next was like what Hyun-woo said. Soo-jeon proposed divorce before, but her husband never gave up marriage. Hyun-woo was always the one wholeheartedly protecting the family. Even when he decided to divorce, it was because he wanted Soo-jeon to be relieved. Although Hyun-woo was indecisive, he always treated Soo-jeon with all sincerity. She hoped everyone could withdraw criticisms against him. After Soo-jeon finished writing those lines, she officially faced her heart. She tried to start a new life. In the days after divorce, Soo-jeon was still trying to find a balance between children and work. Hyun-woo also adapted to living alone. On weekends, Hyun-woo visited his child. Jun-soo had grown a lot. Now he could bathe himself. Hyun-woo discovered the room light was broken, so he immediately ran in to fix the light. Soojeon also prepared some kimchi for Hunwoo. After the divorce, it seemed the two lived more harmoniously than before. Hyunwoo was willing to spend time listening to Soojeon tell stories, even though they were just small things in life. Soojeon also smiled brightly, as in the old days. Their relationship made Soojeon's best friend exclaim that now they were happier and more harmonious than before. Maybe they were about to remarry, although Soojeon said that was impossible. The smile on her face proved everything. That night, Hyunwoo met a woman with the same hobby of catching teddy bears as him. Just as her doll got stuck at the exit, thanks to Hunwoo's help, the two got the teddy bear. When the two returned, Hunwoo discovered they were neighbors. In the first meeting, they both left a very good impression on each other. In the following days, Hunwoo accidentally met her many times. He asked and found out she was also divorced. The two shared the same hobby. They both liked catching teddy bears, Hyunwoo and she talked very compatibly. She even proactively proposed dating, and Hyunwoo didn't refuse. Immediately after, they started their first date. After the two finished eating, they chatted about life after divorce. As the two understood each other better, their relationship also became closer. The following days, they often went shopping together, ate together, and went to the park to catch bears together. The woman was also very thoughtful, preparing many dishes for him. But Soojeon encountered difficulties. Because she was divorced and had to raise a child, she continued to be discriminated against by colleagues. Soojeon lost the opportunity for promotion in her career. Clearly, Soojeon was hurt a lot, but she still had to smile facing everything. Colleagues also saw her bravery. Soojeon intended to call to confide in her ex-husband, but Hyunwoo had an appointment with the neighbor to eat, so he could only refuse his ex-wife. Soojeon didn't think much and turned off the phone. In the evening, when Soojeon was walking home, she saw Hunwoo sitting eating with the neighbor. Just then, Hyunwoo looked up and also saw Soojeon outside. When the two looked at each other, Hyunwoo appeared a bit confused, and Soojeon stood dazed on the spot. She felt extremely bitter. Soojeon once dreamed of a happy reunion scene, but in this moment, everything shattered. Soojeon walked absent-mindedly to the front of Hunwoo's house. He also quickly ran home. When the two talked, Soojeon accidentally opened the refrigerator. She saw a lot of food in the fridge. This made Soojeon understand that another woman had entered Hyunwoo's life. Suddenly, Soojeon felt pain. She hurriedly said goodbye to Hyunwoo and left. When Hyunwoo looked at the back of the woman he loved leaving lonely, his heart was also very conflicted. That night, Hyunwoo actively called Soojeon. After Soojeon talked about their son, she suddenly said Hyunwoo didn't need to feel sorry for her. Soojeon saw he always thought for others, but in the future, they didn't need to think for each other anymore. Soojeon hoped that later the two would live with their own happiness. After Hyunwoo turned off the phone, he looked out the window and thought for a while. Then, he made the final decision. The next day, Hyunwoo started heading towards a different life. At this time, Soojeon just took her child to school. She saw Hunwoo on the other side of the road. The two looked at each other and smiled amidst the vast sea of people. Perhaps, Hyunwoo decided to return to continue writing their happy story with his wife.